John, from our standpoint, we like to give back to the little people that are just starting out in MMA.
Yeah.
And so we noticed that, you know, there was this little website called MMAJunkie.com.
Yeah.
You guys have just started out, and you guys are trying to increase your, you know, your hits and stuff. And so that's why we're having you on. We just want to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just, you know, we're just adrift on the big sea of mixed martial arts, and to be able to tie our raft to a huge battleship like No Shit MMA, it's just a real honor.
I like this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's keep him. Let's keep him on the show.
All right, man.
So yeah, it's great having you on the show, man. And we do love the website, and it's really cool to have you here. Hey, but we want to talk. Hey, we got Joe Riggs on in the second half hour. What do you think of that?
That's great, man. You know, we've been hearing about that fight for a couple weeks now, that it was rumored. Amazing that Strikeforce is putting on a 4th title fight on this card. I mean,
crazy.
It's absolutely unbelievable. But I'm really looking forward to this fight. I mean, the amount of trash talk and build-up that we're going to get building up to this August 15th is going to be epic in proportion. And like you said earlier, Rob, you know, it may be officially Diaz-Riggs 2, but we all know it's actually Diaz-Riggs 3, baby.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. Well, it's going to be cool.
You know what else, John? The fact that Riggs should start the trash talking on the show tonight, I think we'll get that ball rolling, because we're pretty big fans of his, and we were pretty surprised about Nick Diaz's comments after his last fight with
our boy Scott. Yeah,
which we're giant Scott Hands of Steel nut huggers.
Yeah,
so,
big nut huggers right here.
So did you see his post-fight interview?
Yeah, I did, man. He's definitely he's always bringing the trash talk. That's a key ingredient to anything he does. So it's pretty much par for the course, I think.
I got a quick question on that. What do you think? Scott Smith, great fighter or the greatest fighter?
The greatest fighter.
That's right. Yeah,
he's had, was it 2 or 3 of the greatest comebacks?
I know, amazing
in history.
Yeah, that Benji Radek fight was unbelievable. Like, that makes you look at MMA as a different animal than just 2 guys fighting. When you see something like that, it's a test of heart, you know?
So, John, when did you start watching MMA?
You know, I started back in the early days, probably around UFC 2 or 3. I remember, you know, being in my local Blockbuster video and seeing the VHS tapes come out and saying, what the hell is this? You know, I got to check this out. And, you know, taking it home and renting it. And I was the guy that was making copies of the VHS tapes back in the day, completely legally, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
With
full approval.
Group. And passing them out to my buddies, you know, trying to get them to watch MMA.
Did you, were you taking karate or something at the time?
You know, I didn't until I got into my late teens. I'm from Dallas originally, and had a real good fortune of working out with Guy Mesger and Ken Shamrock, Williams, the original Lions in Dallas. So I had the great fortune of doing that back in the day.
How is it working out in those early days with guns? Because doesn't everybody in Dallas have a big gun that they constantly carry around?
It's you know, that's your backup plan in case the jiu-jitsu goes awry.
So you just, as you're fighting, you always keep it like sort of sidearm, and then if you start to lose, you just pull it out and blow the dude's head off?
Yeah, that's really the point of the gi pants. It's basically to hide your weapon.
Yeah, it's kind
of
like,
a place to tuck your gun.
You're just like when you're sagging, you got a place to put your gun.
That's right.
So let's talk about UFC 100, man. Like, this is a big deal, like the biggest deal.
It's that, you know what? I've been watching since UFC #1. Sorry, John, to up you one there.
Oh yeah, wow.
So whatever you bench, I bench 1 pound more. But same sort of deal. I've been watching right from the beginning. I was doing karate at the time, and just blown away with the fact I'd never seen anything like it. I thought, you know, what you do is all that there was, and you'd heard of other styles and other things, but you never really thought about. Yeah. Well, you thought about, you know, well, my sensei could kick.
All you thought is you could beat every kung fu guy going.
Oh, for sure. But then you come to the grand realization that, that there's other things that, when well put together. But, you know, and it's evolved so much since then, right?
But so, John, what do you think of when you think of, you know, 100 events later? Like, what's the deal here?
Well, it really is amazing because, you know, although I didn't get on the first show, you know, I have seen it evolve. And I remember those early days thinking, man, how long is this going to last? This thing is surely going to go away because, you know, it was human cockfighting. Let's be honest. For the most part. I mean, you know, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu certainly wasn't. That was an art form, but, you know, Tank Abbott wasn't much of an art form. It was human cockfighting.
Right.
And it's been really exciting to watch this sport evolve into what it is now. And for it to be a UFC 100 really is pretty amazing. You know, there's a lot of people that get frustrated with Dana White and Fertitas and the way they've chosen to run their business, but you know, what they've done for the sport, you can't really argue with. I mean, we owe a lot to the popularity and where it is today to the effort that those guys have put in. And man, this card on Saturday night is a real testament to where the sport has come.
Well, without Dana White, convincing the Fertittas to go ahead and work with him to purchase the UFC, MMA wouldn't be where it is today.
I mean, even in those days, you look back at the beginning, they actually marketed it. They attempted to market it as if someone might die.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it was insane.
Well, originally, didn't they want to put a moat around the ring with crocodiles? That
would have been cool. Let's face it, right? That would have been really cool. But
although a little more distracting these days, getting the crocodiles into the ring every.
But let's talk about the card itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what's the sleeper fight of the night, John? What do you think?
I tell you, the fight that I'm really looking forward to the most, and I just can't wrap my head around yet, is the Yoshiro Akiyama-Alan Belcher fight.
Yeah.
I think the pay-per-view is going to kick off with a really fun fight there. Yoshiro Akiyama is definitely a highly touted Japanese import. It's done great over there in the Far East, but the Far East imports haven't necessarily performed that well when they've come to the UFC, and Alan Belcher did a great job of stopping Dennis Kang on his first fight in the UFC, which I really didn't see that coming at all.
No, I didn't either. But you know, it's interesting because Alan Belcher is like the first gatekeeper, right? Like, you're coming in, you get Alan Belcher, which, you know, that sucks, man. That guy can knock people out. He's a badass. Like, you know, that's your first. He seems to be the first test. How do you think he feels about that?
You know, in the couple times I've talked to him, he's asking for these fights. You know, he's up there with Duke Rufus. And those guys are asking for this fight. They said, hey, please give us Dennis Kang first. We want to be the one to show that we can beat him before anybody else does. And they were in the same situation here. They said, hey, we hear Akiyama's coming over. We want Akiyama. We want to show. And, man, that takes a big set of brass ones right there.
For sure.
Especially when the odds makers got Yoshiro at minus 300.
Yeah.
Or over minus 300. I think he's minus 330 right now.
Yeah. Hey, John, you know anything about this? Who are these odds makers? Like, when we're looking online, and you know, now people are betting a lot of money on MMA.
It's the big online sports books are really the, you know, you got BetUS and.
Yeah, but what are they basing this on? You know, I mean, you can't base on records. You can't base MMA. The MMA math doesn't work the way the boxing math works.
Well, they don't do it based on that. It's the science of odds making is kind of universal, right? And there's some principles that get passed on through every single sport. But I think some of the principles that are applied in boxing are applied in MMA.
I don't know if they work
But
the
what
same.
they do is they look at also the quality of the previous opponents. They look at previous finishes. They look at how they're trending. They look at all of those things. But I see it kind of hard to set odds on a guy that's coming from Japan, who's going to be fighting for the first time in the UFC, against a guy who really is, you know, going to be a tough guy to beat any way you slice it.
Yeah, and that's another thing that goes into those lines that you have to consider as well, is that, you know, they're banking on name and popularity and name recognition in the public eye. So, you know, sometimes you can catch some real value on these lines or see some real errors in these lines when you realize, hey, this is a guy that most people probably don't know anything about. But, you know, here it's almost the other way around, so it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, but they do it also to create action, right? They want action on each line. They want people to place money, so But it would make sense then. Well, actually, it's going to create a lot of action because it's a shitload of people that are going to put money on Allen.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go fight by fight, Jonathan. What do we got? Let's even talk about the undercard a bit.
Yeah, well, let's start off with the undercard. We've got
we got time.
Yeah, we've got time.
John, you're not going anywhere, right?
No, I'm here, brother.
All right.
Cool. So we've got.
I like this guy.
Yeah, Mac Rice versus Shannon Gurdy.
Ooh, what do you think, John?
You know, this is a tough fight to call as well. I like Shannon Gurdy. I think you know, he's done some good things, and he's a great guy overall. So I'm going to have to homer a little bit. Every time I talk to Shannon Gurdy, he seems to have his head screwed on straight and his attitude right. And I'm going to be looking at Shannon Gurdy to get the victory in this one.
What do you think when they're making decisions on a card like 100, which of course is a big deal? Does that mean something in the selection of some of these guys, like a guy like Shannon Gurdy? Are they putting him there because they have a feeling about him for the future, or do you think it goes that deep on a big card like this?
You know, I think for the main card, yeah, absolutely, and for some of the preliminary card as well. You know, for some of the early preliminary card action, I think a lot of it just has to do with timing.
Yeah.
You know, who was ready at certain times. Obviously, Grice last fought in February.
Yeah.
Lost that great fight with Matt Beach at UFC Fight Night 17. If you guys remember that one, that was a real back and forth battle. I think these guys were just ready. It's been a while since we've seen Gurdy. He last fought in October in that Spencer Fitz fight way back in UFC 90. So I think it just has more to do with timing.
Yeah.
You know, both these guys could kind of be on the fence and kind of fighting for their lives. You know, Grice has just gone 1-2 in the UFC. Took that time off to get his police education, actually.
Cool.
So you know, he hasn't been around in a while. So you know, either one of these guys could kind of be one of those make or break fights for both of them.